Ooh, kind of spooky-ish. I don't know. Am I out? Am I in? What's going to go on? Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris. I'm the maker behind the Enchanted Skein, and I make videos about running my small crochet business while working a full-time job. If that's something you're interested in, I really do hope that you subscribe. We are on the cusp of hitting 100 subscribers, and I couldn't be more excited about that. I am making another change to how we do videos. And I know, you're probably thinking, didn't we just do this last week? And yes, we did. But this is a different change. One of the things I've been considering is not doing that kind of intro that I just did anymore. It's one of those things where I feel like for those of you who do know who I am or are subscribers, it's redundant and kind of annoying in the beginning of a video. And I think I'm going to go along the lines of something that I saw Kayla do from Cluck and... I want to say Cluck and Bow? Hold, please. Kayla from Cluck and Buzz Crochet, and she just does a little pop-up at the beginning of her video that says like, "Hi, I'm Kayla." So I'm gonna do something a little bit like that from now on, I think, and then maybe every so often I'll go ahead and do the intro, but for the most part, you'll just see a little pop-up like this. Last week, I mentioned that I was going to make a change for a few weeks where I didn't film every day or every few days, but made the video all in one day because my schedule was pretty tight. And the same goes for this week. And unfortunately, I didn't have as much time to crochet as I would have liked. It's been a really hard thing to choose what I know I need to do for me and for my health and everything versus crocheting. I want to crochet. I want all my free time to be crochet. But, you know, we've got to do the adulting thing, and it's really hard sometimes. And I'm sure that some of you out there can relate to that, you know, where you've got to get something done, but you also want to crochet. So you kind of just have to find your way through that. I kind of miss filming daily because it's kind of an outlet for some of those stresses and things like that. So I think I do want to get back to that eventually, but for now, this is going to have to do. Two things happened this week that I was really stressed about that I would have liked to just hop on and just vent my frustrations to you for. But the first one is that I don't remember what I was doing on my computer, but I was looking for an email and I couldn't find it. So I went into my junk folder. And when I went into my junk folder, I realized that I had gotten an email like 3 or 4 days ago from the event coordinator for my first market in September. And basically that email was, "Hey, we had told you got in. Now it's time to pay. You have 48 hours to pay for your booth and select where you'd prefer to be." I absolutely freaked out because I'm thinking, it's been 3 or 4 days at this point. Am I out? Am I in? What's going to go on? So I did end up clicking on the link and the link was still good. So I went in and I paid the fee and I put in, you know, where my preference of areas would be. I didn't choose the spooky section. They have a spooky section, but in the description, it was like, it seemed like everything on your table should be spooky themed to be there. So I didn't choose that, but I chose a booth that's spooky adjacent. So I want to be near kind of all the Halloween-y stuff, but my booth isn't full Halloween. So it just didn't feel like the right place to choose. And then I sent an email to the lady who's been super helpful because I also realized that I screwed up because the number that I put in that I was choosing was a corner and I didn't pay the right fee. It was just, it was so stressful. So I sent an email to the lady who's been more than kind with me. And she said she was out working at another event, but she would check it when she got back and it wouldn't be a big deal. If I am given the corner booth, then they can charge me the fee, you know, as like a secondary thing. And she thinks it'll be fine that I went ahead and paid, even though I was a little late. All that was that it's like first come, first serve. And when they get back from their event, anyone who hasn't paid, they'll offer to more people who, you know, wanted to be in but didn't get in. So I was like, thank goodness. That was finally a good relief. You know, I don't know if I'll get the space that I wanted, but I don't care where I am. I just want to be in and I want to just experience that market. So the second stressful thing was I realized that my calculations were completely off. I don't know if when I first plugged into my little how many weeks till my market calculator, if I thought the market was the week later or it was on a Monday versus calculating weeks from Saturday, I don't know what I did, but I was wrong. Last week, I mentioned that I was 10 weeks away from my market. And when I looked at the calculations, last week was actually 9 weeks away from my market, which makes this week 8 weeks away from my market. I lost an entire week somewhere. And I feel like it's not even a full 8 weeks of prep. We're leaving for vacation tomorrow. And while I am going to crochet while I'm on vacation, I don't exactly know how much I'm going to get done. And none of that was part of the plan. So I'm a little stressed feeling like that week is gone, even though, you know, it never was there to begin with. I don't know if you noticed, but on my wheel that I spin to determine what next week's makes are going to be, I only have 5 categories on there. And I had less categories on there than I did weeks till market because I wanted to be able to take like one of those weeks to just strictly work on pricing and tagging and all that kind of stuff. So I have 5 weeks worth of makes. I have a large list of extras I want to make. And then I have that if time permits group, which probably won't permit, but so I'm feeling a little stressed. I feel like there's so much to do and so little time. Speaking of vacation, the other day I kind of made a list of everything that I needed to bring with me. I knew I wanted to make some spiders, some wisps, maybe some rats, things like that. So I got all the yarn together and everything like that, made a list of all the eyes I needed to paint, packed everything up and was good to go. And then yesterday I got a notification that I was accepted for a pattern test. I know. I know. I was not supposed to apply for any other pattern tests. I said I wouldn't, but this is the one pattern test that I said I would. This is for the Little Will Dragon by Loops and Knots Crochet. If you've been here for any time at all, you know that my favorite dragon pattern is her Willow, the wood dragon. And this is like the little compact version of that. It's so adorable. And I'm both super excited to be chosen for it and excited to make it. And at the same time, I'm like, oh crap. Just when I thought I was out of time, I'm out of more time. So I ended up having to add that to my list of eyes I needed to make, unpack some of the stuff I was bringing because now I need to bring supplies to make Little Will. All is good. I'm excited about it. You know, you have that like catch-22 stuff going on, but it's fine. But I did sit down last night and I spent a good hour and a half, I want to say, maybe even 2 hours painting eyes. So let me show you what I made for everything that I'm hoping I can crochet on this vacation. Let's start with the Little Will eyes. And I'm struggling on what size I want to make it. Originally, my plan was to take the exact same yarn that I made my teal Willow, the wood dragon in. I'll pop a picture up here. I loved this color combination. I think she came out beautiful. It was one of my favorite makes. But I started working up the head so I could determine what size eyes I did need. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So I ended up grabbing some Parfait Chunky. I actually went with this like really dark teal and worked up a head. And I feel like I'm digging that one a little more. I don't know. I kind of feel like I had mentioned to Sarah that I was going to crochet the exact same one, just smaller. I don't have it anymore, so it's not like I can set them side by side or anything. I don't know. I'm really digging the thought of maybe doing it in the Parfait Chunky. But anyway, but that's besides the point. I went ahead and painted 2 sets of eyes. I'm going to make both either way at some point, whether one waits till aftermarket or not. I'm going to make both of them in the teal color family. So the one in blanket yarn would be exactly like the one that I showed you just a second ago, and the other would be this darker teal. And I knew that I wanted to have those like pinkish accents as far as the flowers go. So I ended up doing this rose gold color glitter, and these are 25mm for the larger of the two Little Wills. And then this is 20mm for the Parfait Chunky version if I decide to go with that. So I just need to decide like today so that I can pack the right yarn, which one I'm going to make on the trip. And then I worked on eyes for the wisps. Now, I knew I wanted to make wisps in certain colors. So I'm going to be making one in a yellow. I'm going to be making another one in light blue to replace the one that I sold on Etsy. And I'm going to be making 2 in the frosting colors that I got on clearance at Walmart, which was fantastic. $2.50 a skein. Run and get them if you haven't already and you use them. But one is that raspberry, I think they call it something frosting, and then the blue green frosting. I'll put it up on the screen because I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head. But for the yellow one, I wanted to do like a deep yellowy gold. I had trouble picking the color, and I'm still not sure I love this. I always use the glow pupils on the wisps, but this is a deep gold, you know, yellowy gold, almost copper color. And I think it looks good against the yarn, but I'm not 100% sold. And I like the center pupil eyes for the wisps because I feel like it just gives them a little bit more of like, you know, that ooh kind of spooky-ish. I don't know. I just like it. And then the blue one, I wanted to do something different for the eyes this time than what I did on the original. And I ended up doing this combo, and I don't know if it'll come across on the camera, but I love it. It is got like a glitter speckle, and then I used mica powder to fill it in, so it's kind of milky and white. I'm gonna see if you can see the glow. And then for the pink frosting version, I did this one, and this pupil is off center. This is kind of a rose goldy. It's got a pink to rose gold mica powder. I ran out of center pupil eyes. So for the two frostings, I'm doing still glow pupil, but they're offset pupil. And then I did a similar thing for the blue frosting where I used a glitter that's almost like mirror, and then an iridescent mica, and this iridescent mica goes kind of green. So yeah, I got all of those eyes painted. I'm really happy with them. The only ones I'm a little on the fence about are the ones for the yellow wisp, but I'll get them put in, and if I don't like them, I'll stop that one and circle back to it with another set of eyes. I do need to go order some more glow pupil eyes because I really do love them, and I'm out now, so. I did get some other things done this week, which was really good. I ordered my packaging. There was an Amazon Day sale going on. So some things I had in mind as far as bags for sales at the market and stuff like that, I went ahead and ordered all of that. I'm planning to do a full video just to go through kind of all of that stuff, how I'm tagging everything, what my tags look like, what I'm including in the package when someone buys, what the bags are going to be like, boxes, whatever it's going to be. I'm definitely trying my best to avoid plastics. Obviously there's plastics in some of these with the eyes and stuff like that. And when I ship my plushies, I do put a plastic around them just to kind of protect them from the rain or whatever might happen to the packages. But at the actual markets, I want to do some stuff that's as sustainable as possible. So when all of that comes in, I will sit down and do a full video to show you all of that good stuff. All right, let's get into this week's makes. It was Possum Week. Now, I just want to do a quick disclaimer before anybody comes at me in the comments. I know that there is a difference between an opossum and a possum, and I am actually talking about opossums, but I grew up calling opossums possums, so we're just going with it because I know I'm going to confuse it anyway. I had the goal of making 3 using All From Jade's pattern called Ozias the opossum, and I did a few different versions of it. I wanted each of them to be unique. So the first one, I used Bernat Mystical. I have fluff all over them. So I don't know if you can see. Yeah. So I used the Bernat Mystical. These guys are so soft and snuggly. These are really more of a snuggler than anything. They're just smaller. They work up so quick. Like if you just sit there and mass produce, they're so fast. What I ended up doing was I made all of the arms and legs for all 3. I made the tails for all 3, leaving it where I could go in and attach, you know, to the next color yarn, change colors, and then worked up each body. And then you can literally make the fronts of the heads and paws if you wanted to. I did not. I just ended up doing each head for each one after the body was finished of each one. So this is our first one here in the Bernat Mystical. And then the other 2 are from the same skein. Well, cake, I guess you would call it. It's the Bernat Dappled that goes from a really light gray to a really dark gray. So I did a center pull to get the really dark gray to do this guy. I love these guys. They're so cute. And then I pulled from the outside of the skein to do this guy. And I think he might be my favorite in the lighter color. Wow, I see all the fluff. All right. So yeah, these guys worked up really well. I definitely think it's a friendly market make. I don't time myself, so I don't know how long it took me, and I don't consider myself a fast crocheter, but I definitely think that these guys are market friendly because they work up really well. The next thing we had on the list was mini possums. So I do have 10 of these guys, and this is using the pattern called Baby Possum by Loops and Knots Crochet. Pretty quick workup for what it is. I mean, there's a lot of color stuff going on here. What's nice about it is you work up the head. The nose is actually embroidered on after the fact, which I appreciate because there's no way I'm doing color changes for that small of a spot. Once you do the head, then you just add the ears on and then start in with the body. But obviously you've got these color changes for baubles. If you wanted to, you could just make those gray. I don't even know if anybody would care. And then the tail is normally crocheted in before you close the body. What I ended up doing was just sitting down and making 10 tails with long tails of yarn at the end. And once I got all the bodies done, I just went into, one stitch and then one stitch over, and then on the inside tied it on and then closed up the body. And to me, that was much faster, but anyway, so yeah, these guys came out super cute, and we do have all 10, the other set. So that worked out well. And then my plan was to do 5 in what I was calling a chonky version. So I was going to use that same exact pattern and just use blanket yarn to make a honker of 1. But I didn't like the way it was translating. I made the head and I just didn't, I don't know. I didn't think it was as cute, larger in this shape versus that. And I wasn't enjoying making it. So I stopped. What I did end up deciding to do instead was to grab some sweet snuggles and make a larger version of the Ozias pattern. And this guy is the result. And out of all of them, he's probably my favorite. I think I added another row or 2 to the tail, but I just felt like he needed it. But he's so freaking cute. And he's a much more kind of snuggly size as far as for a larger human. So here's the comparison of these two side by side. Both of these were using a 7mm hook, mind you. I take that back. I think this was a 6.5mm hook on this guy and a 7mm hook on this guy. But yeah, I think they came out super cute. I'm really excited. I wish I had time to make more of these. I added it to the extra makes list because, why not? Who are we kidding? I'm pretty happy with it because the 3 on the Ozias pattern and the 10 minis were what the goal was. I added the little chonkies as a stretch goal, ended up making the larger snuggler instead. So I'm pretty happy with how the week went as far as what I got made. I'm not going to be spinning the wheel for this week's makes, obviously, because I already talked through that. I'm going on vacation. Definitely priority is finishing the little will because it's due, I think, in 10 days or something like that. And then I'm going to focus on wisps next and then spiders if I have some time. I'm bringing yarn for all of those items. What I ended up doing is taking my Delaque bags. Let me show you. So I have large bags just like this, same exact kind of structure and shape, just larger size. And what I ended up doing was putting the yarn in the larger compartment for everything, for specific projects. So one of them has the spider yarn. In the front pouch, I have the hook for spiders because it's a different size. I have all of the eyes and everything in the front. And then, that's buttoned up into its own little thing. I have one for the wisps. So all of the yarn for the wisps, all of the eyes will go in the front pocket along with the hook for that particular make. And then I have a bag for the car that's kind of my passenger princess bag where I'm going to have all this stuff for little Will so that I can start crocheting that on the road. And then of course I have a bag of polyfill that I am bringing to stuff everything. I've got my stitch markers, my sewing needles, my scissors, and all that good stuff packed away. So I'm pretty much ready to go. I just need to decide on which size and yarn I'm going to use for the little will. And I'm really leaning towards the parfait chunky. So I'm probably going to go that route. Yeah. Anyway, I think that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed already, please do subscribe. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Give me any of your feedback in the comments down below. I really love that as well. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.